Hello and welcome to episode 244 of Sutton Impact's Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill Beck, and I want to thank everybody for the nice texts and emails I got. Still not 100% back yet, but working on it. But it's good to be back on our show.
Yeah, and thank you guys for sticking with me for my 15-minute solo ramblings.
So I'm going to start. Let's start, Jason. What was your disappointing NFL game of the day yesterday?
I guess it was overall, in terms of quality of play, it was the Cowboys-Chiefs. I thought it was going to get like a fun shootout, and I got the Cowboys got just dismantled by the Chiefs' defense, but the Chiefs' offense also didn't really look fantastic either, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd probably say that, or the Titans losing to the Texans, which is just embarrassing, no matter how many of your players are out.
That's an embarrassment because, again, it's a team that they've been anointing now for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Like the Cowboys and the Titans, that was the Super Bowl. Well, now it's going to be the Patriots and the Cardinals.
Apparently, yes.
So we'll see who gets anointed now, but it's tough. But I was very disappointed in that because they had so hyped the Cowboy game. They'd so hyped it.
Yeah.
And they were talking blowout. And it never got anywhere near it.
No. It wasn't a blowout, wasn't a shootout. It was a Chiefs defense who was holding opponents.
It was a domination by the Chiefs team, no question.
The much maligned Chiefs defense has been holding opponents to 11.8 points a game for the last 5 weeks, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs are now in first place in their division and just 2 games back of the best record in the AFC, too. Just for those keeping score at home.
Everybody that wrote that obituary needs to forget about it.
Yeah. I think the most annoying obituary was the people that figured Mahomes out. And all they figured out is the same thing that every quarterback is their weakness. If you can rush 4 and put pressure on the quarterback, you're going to win most games on defense. Like, that's not figuring anybody out. That's just the reality of the situation, you know?
And if you come hard up the middle and take away that vision in that lane, that makes it harder.
And some teams can do that because they've got amazing personnel and others can't. I guess the Rams were also incredibly disappointing again, too. Or that might be
that's a good point.
I mean, like we talked about offline, this seems to be the year of the second we say you're good. So look out, Patriots, this week. You suck and lose.
Well, this is like parody world.
Yeah.
I mean, the NFL, I've never seen as much parody in the NFL. I mean, it's like there's nobody running away.
No.
I mean, 2 losses. There's a couple teams with 2 losses, a lot of teams with 3 and 4.
And every team, I think, has a bad loss on their record.
Yeah.
Like an inexplicable, wait, you lost to the Jets?
Yeah.
It's and there's not many teams that can say that, but it's always somebody. And then, and the season, the players, as far as MVP, again, I don't know who the MVP is at this point. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is the new hot name, who just put up 5 touchdowns yesterday.
They were saying that yesterday, like it's a lock.
Yeah.
Well, he's like the fifth player to have 5 touchdowns in a game.
Yeah. But as people have pointed out, I mean, Brady's had a couple of off weeks. I think Rodgers' off season is probably going to prevent him from winning an MVP, whether or not he would deserve one or not. I know they lost yesterday, but he played pretty well. Josh Allen is clearly not the player people thought he was going to be this year. Lamar Jackson's missed some time, and they've been a little shaky. It's not Matthew Stafford. It'd be more Cooper Kupp than Stafford, but wide receivers never win it. I think Derrick Henry had a chance at it for a minute. It's a very topsy-turvy world.
I know.
Like if Brady ain't able to put up stats with all these.
The Chargers look like they looked last night, and I've also seen them look helpless.
Yeah. And even last night, I mean, you gave up 34 points to what was typically been a pretty anemic Steeler offense. So, you didn't exactly run away with it.
You gave away 21 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And I guess shout out to Steelers special teams, get another pump block.
Yeah. And that was a valiant effort last night by a really undermanned Steeler team in terms of injuries.
It was. I will say this, because then we talked, we'll do a little Steelers sprinkling here, but I do feel like under the Tomlin Colbert regime that they always play well undermanned. Like you go back to those Duck Hodges games where, they were winning with a quarterback that's in the Canadian Football League. It seems like they do a good job of circling the wagons, as the cliche would go if John Madden was talking about it,
Hey, I got a trivia question for you, Jason.
Okay.
Who was the leading Steeler receiver with Duck Hodges as the quarterback?
Ooh. With Duck Hodges as quarterback. I want to say Juju.
Nope.
And it wasn't James Washington. We know that, right?
It was James Washington.
I see. For those listening at home, and just keep James Washington's names in your minds for next year when he's on a different team. He is the bane of my dad and I's existence. He was a second-round pick out of Oklahoma State, Biletnikoff winner, super hard worker. He appears to play really well every time he gets in the game for the most part. He's a fighter with the ball, both physically going up for the ball, but he can't seem to get on the field for the Steelers.
Ray McLeod gets more targets than he does.
A ton of more targets than he does. And I just think he's going to go somewhere next year, and you're going to hear James Washington's name quite a bit. So, not going to be, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase kind of stuff, but I think someone is going to get him and being like, why didn't this guy play for 4 seasons? And
all I know is that when we do our fantasy league next year, I'm going to pick him if he's on another team.
Oh, yeah. I definitely want to take a late round flower on him. Because if I'm him, even if the Steelers were the Steelers have a lot of free agents next year, I would not re-sign with the Steelers. I'd be like, I don't know.
think he will. There's no way.
It almost, the only explanation I was able to overcome with is that, he had, jilted Mike Tomlin's daughter in some fictional world or something. Because I just didn't understand why he didn't get more play PT.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
But I guess he's a good metaphor for the rest of this NFL season, which, again, like we said, you got some big games coming up. The Bills and the Patriots play twice over the next few weeks.
Yes. Twice in the next 4 weeks.
Twice in the next 4 weeks. And right now the Patriots, and I know that, if you're not from New England, the rest of the country is just shaking their head going, huh? Yeah, the Patriots, once again, are in first place in the AFC East and look like a legit contender with Tom Brady 2.0. Again, another slightly cocky, annoying kid out of Alabama. So I don't know how that happened.
It is interesting, but you kind of saw it coming.
He did. Everybody said he's going to be a Patriot. He's going to be the next Tom Brady, and And I know the one time I always thought, you never want to hold it against another player what somebody else did, but you saw how good Tua was in college with all those players around him. Mm-hmm. And then you saw Mac Jones come on, and you're like, well, he just is a product of the system, but he doesn't appear to be. And then the crazy thing is, did you ever see the interview with Jalen Waddle?
No.
They put him on the spot in a question that normally you just give the PC political answer, right? They were like, who would you rather play with, Tua, or who was your guy, Tua or Mac? And without hesitation, he said, Mac is my man. And normally, if you're asking about, 2 former college teammates, you'd be like, I love both those guys and my brothers, He didn't say that.
Yeah.
He said, Mac is my man. So, he looks good.
It's not an answer you would think. I'm surprised he said that.
And again, it was no malice to it. It was simply just a straightforward, like, Mac's my man. He's the dude. And apparently, his teammates now absolutely love him. And he's got that weird Tom Brady, kind of annoying, already has a dad bod. Doesn't seem to have the strongest arm or the fastest legs, but just makes the right throws. So.
Yeah.
And then this week we have the Steelers are playing the Bengals, which is an absolutely huge game in the AFC North.
It's in Cincinnati.
It's in Cincinnati, and they've already beat the Steelers once. Again, as we go through the AFC South, like we talked about Tennessee being a disappointment. Derrick Henry's out. Julio Jones is out. Tannehill threw 4 picks against the Texans. And the Colts look, really...
The flavor of the month.
the team of the month, and now MVP Chandler John, but but they got Carson Wentz at quarterback.
And as the talking heads say, he's good as long as he doesn't do a Carson Wentz thing.
Yeah. And again, it's a 5 or 6 year sample size at this point, and then you go to the other AFC West, and like we talked about, the Chiefs are in first place again, and they're still hard to buy into what we've seen this year. The Chargers have been very shaky. The Raiders seem like once they've had a lot of personal upheaval, I think they're done. So it's just a weird year.
Yeah, for sure.
And I have to also say, as long as we're sticking with the NFL talk, I don't understand the Vikings. Like, when you watch them play, I mean, Jefferson and Thielen are as good a receiving combo as you have in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Delvin Cook, top 5, top 10 running back in the NFL. Their offensive line pretty solid. Like, their defense at times can look, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, tore him up a little bit yesterday, but it's hard to imagine they're not better than they are. Like, is it just Kirk Cousins? Is it just...
I don't know. I think that team's been just disappointing over the last 3 or 4 years.
And again, like I said, they had Diggs, and they had one of the best duos with Diggs and Thielen. And they get Jefferson, who looks even better than Diggs. And it's just, it seems like Diggs or Thielen is open on every single play. You can't stack the box because of those two guys. And when you don't, Dalvin Cook can run all over you. And, it's just, it's hard to imagine they're not better. And then again, as I say that, they could easily win the NFC North, sorry.
It's going to be interesting to watch because, I still wouldn't pick against the Packers.
No. I mean
he loves having a chip on his shoulder.
And bizarrely, Aaron Rodgers did what they say never do against Aaron Rodgers. I know you don't have Alan Lazard not run, but, they're down a touchdown. Then he throws that 70-yard bomb right before the 2-minute warning on the first play of the drive, which is an 80-yard touchdown to Alan Lazard. And then you left too much time on the clock for Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, but I would never have worried about leaving too much time on the clock for Kirk Cousins.
No, but I mean, that's what happened. And especially because the Packers' D had been on fire. And then, like I said, the Vikings just tore them up.
Yeah.
And then the other surprise, I guess my biggest surprise in the NFL currently are the 6-5 or the 6-6 49ers, who are starting to look like the team that people thought could have been a contender in that division. Like, obviously the Cardinals are winning even with Colt McCoy. So they clearly have something going on in Arizona.
Yeah.
But
Seattle's just disappointing.
Just disappointing. I don't know if it's going to become publicly ugly, but I don't see Russ playing another game for the Seattle Seahawks after this season. I mean, he already seemingly had one foot out the door, so...
Let's see, but it's not a big draft for top picks in quarterbacking.
No, but I did read an article on Bleacher Report today saying that they think Carroll, Willis, Pickett, and Carson Strong, the kid from Nevada, they think all 4 of those guys are going in the top 20. And they said that they don't know if they would technically have a first-round grade on any of them, but that, it's the most important position on a football field. You can't win with a bad quarterback. And
yeah.
Again, we did that exercise, and we'll probably do it again before the draft. There's a lot of quarterback-needy teams right now.
Yes, there are. We'll switch to college.
Which has been just as wacky, but also very entertaining, yeah.
Well, Georgia, unchanged. Ohio State, dominant.
Dominant. Like, I did not expect them to just blow the doors off of Michigan State like that.
No, I didn't either. And we had an Alabama-Georgia matchup coming up. And, normally you'd say Georgia's going to win, but Saban is Saban.
Saban is Saban. You still got some guys in that building on Alabama that, just have that attitude, and
they expect it. They don't think they're going to win. They always expect they're going to win.
But, Alabama struggled a little with Arkansas. It's not an insult to Arkansas to say that, but...
No. And Arkansas had a good year. It's been a good year for Arkansas.
It really has been. But normally, they have their good year, and then they play Alabama, and you're like, oh, yeah, it's Arkansas.
So Oregon's gone out of the picture.
Because they got stomped by Utah.
And I feel real comfortable saying I think Michigan will be out of the picture this week. I don't see them staying on the field at Ohio State, or is it at Michigan? It doesn't matter to me where it is.
It doesn't matter. What's sad is, I mean, as a lad, when you taught at the Ohio State University, one of my first jobs was selling programs at the Ohio State football games, and Ohio State Michigan felt like a legitimate rival.
Yeah, that is a legitimate rival.
And
kids would sell their tickets pay their tuition for the whole year.
Whole year, but it also felt like it was a very balanced,
it
either
was much more balanced in those days.
Whoever was the home team was the team you thought was going to win, and now it's felt like, almost throughout the 2000s that it's Ohio State and everybody else, and that the tradition of the Ohio State Michigan game is there, but the competitiveness is just gone, which is sad. And I don't know what you do if you're Michigan. I don't know how you bring that back.
Well, let's talk about what we think this 14 playoffs can look like. I think it'll be Georgia, and I think it'll be
the Ohio State University.
And then I think Cincinnati could be it now.
They got a real good shot.
And as much as I would love to see Oklahoma State get in, and I think they'll be number 6 this week, or they'll probably be 6.
Yeah, I think so.
I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening.
No.
So it could be Notre Dame, Cincinnati, Georgia, Ohio State, or it could be, if Alabama wins, maybe it's going to be Alabama, Georgia, Cincinnati, and Ohio State.
Yeah. We do think, that with already having the one loss, you're not going to jump. They can't lose to Georgia 21-20 and still get in with 2 losses, right? They have to win that game.
Yes, I've seen crazier stuff, so I don't know.
I know. As I said it, I was like,
prefer to believe that.
I was like, that's what I'm believing, but I feel like it could very easily be like they played a really close game. We're just going to give Alabama the nod.
And that could happen.
It really could.
There's a lot of SEC and Big Ten bias in that committee.
Well, those are the people on the committee. It helps out for them.
Yeah, it's not like you say Power 5 all you want, but that committee's Power 2.
Yeah. And again, they can argue the results, but they've sort of manipulated the results too in a weird way by putting those teams at that spot all the time. So, yeah. Would you want to talk about someone who's having a not so good week?
Yes.
The LeBron James.
Unbelievable. That was for the best player in the game and the leader of the game and a Hall of Famer and everything else you want to say, greatest player in the world. You don't have a meltdown moment like that. You don't have a dirty foul like that. It's beneath you.
Yeah. And that was an ugly, ugly play. And I wonder, we talked a little bit off air, but I understand that we live in a very pro-money world, and that if you want money, China's the place to go. But Ernest Cantor has also called him out quite a bit, and LeBron's only answer has sort of been like that dismissive Facebook meme of the lion doesn't worry about what lambs have to say. And it's like, he's bringing up legitimate social issues. You claim to be a guy about social justice. And it seems like the public sentiment is also on Ernest Cantor's side. And I know it's easy to go against LeBron, but he just...
Well, the same controversy came up under Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
When they wanted him to become more involved in social cause and social activation. And I think it was Republicans buy shoes too.
Yeah, whereas LeBron has been clamoring for social justice and social change and fairness and equity. And, and again, we're recording this on Apple, so I'm not pretending like I'm not a hypocrite for criticizing LeBron with the products that I buy and things along those lines. But he knows what he's doing in China, and it's making money at the expense of other people. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But you can't pretend that you care and then have your care, when it's convenient for you.
What are you doing with your money?
Yeah.
Are you making an investment back to correct these wrongs?
Yeah.
But yeah, and the difference the biggest difference between the Jordan thing and the LeBron thing is the social media world.
Yeah.
I mean, he can get attacked everywhere globally in a matter of minutes.
But he also,
MJ, that didn't exist.
yeah, but as we pointed out, I mean, the famous quote, Republicans buy shoes too. Like, Michael Jordan never made it,
No, he was apolitical as you can get.
Yeah,
So is Tiger.
Yeah. And they made it very clear that that's what they were about. So, I mean, you can. And then I guess while we're on bitter NBA players, I guess we should, Scottie Pippen just keeps throwing fire on, oil on the fire, gas on the fire, as they say.
Oh, I didn't see this. What did you find?
Well, I guess co-coach, is off the record, has basically said that Scottie Pippen's not telling the truth about stuff. He gets a lot of shine. He's considered a top 50 player of all time. He was considered one of the greatest defensive players of all time. Like, I feel like he's properly loved, and I just don't understand where it's, I mean, I think you could criticize and feel like maybe he's rated a little bit higher than he should be. The overall,
The
basket.
question would be, if he wasn't playing with Michael Jordan, would he have gotten the attention and the opportunities that he did?
Yeah, like Kukoc, I guess he says he's good friends with Scotty. He doesn't understand what Scotty's saying to some things he does, but Kukoc was upset that, about the implications that he got that last second shot because he was white, and that Scottie Pippen would say something like that publicly.
Yeah.
Because it seems like Scottie Pippen could just be a really happy. I mean, apparently that's not Scottie Pippen, but I feel like if he wanted to, like he's got, he's well spoken enough that he could have been a talking head, as long as he wanted and continue to get some shine here and there. It just seems like he's just, a very angry, bitter dude.
Yeah.
And it's a bad look for him.
No, I agree. But getting finished up with LeBron now, that when you see it slowed down and you see he deliberately hits him in the face,
Yeah.
it's not an accident.
No.
It's deliberate. And he didn't probably mean to cause as much damage as he did.
No. I'm sure he
It was
did
still
not.
deliberate.
Yeah. As someone that has a little bit of a bull in a china shop, like, body himself, like, you don't usually mean it, but it would, it would be nice to see him do a full meal. I mean, I know he said, the story coming out of LeBron's camp is that he tried to get his phone number and explain it was an accident. And it's like, you don't have to really even Zapruder that film that much. Like, it doesn't look like an accident. It looks like you lost your cool. You did something crappy. Just come out and say it. Be a good example for the, I'd respect him more if he was just like,
playing well, I lost my head in the heat of the moment.
Yeah. If he did that, I would have, my respect, like I said, it's hard. I'm not saying I don't respect LeBron James. He's an incredible player. He's done a lot, for all the, the China stuff, he's done a lot of good things too,
Yes.
It's like most people, it's a very complicated portrait, your picture painting. But you'd like to see him just set the right example of like, look, I screwed up. I lost my cool. I should not have done that. I'm a bad, kids don't do what that's, if you did that moment, he would get so much love and praise. And there's got to be somebody in LeBron's camp saying that to him. I'm not sure why, he's going with deny. But, that's the playbook he's running.
Well, before we do our food moment, this is the weekend that every year usually tells me how happy I was with the Oklahoma State football season.
Okay.
And I'm always usually negative going into the game. Because I always say the same thing. Oklahoma knows they can win the game. Oklahoma State thinks they could win the game. And that's a big difference.
It is.
So I'm hoping this year they know they can win the game.
Well,
because this could be a great year if they win and they get the Big 12 championship to win. But if they lose to Oklahoma and play Oklahoma again in the next week and lose it again, it will take a really good season and just wipe it out.
Yeah, it's a shame. But like you said offline, the defense is playing really well. And while I think he's going to be an incredible he's already a really good college quarterback, and I think he'll have a nice career in the pros. Like, they are playing against, a freshman quarterback, right?
Yep. A real athlete, too.
Yeah, he would look very nice in the black and gold someday.
All right, now we're going to do our food moment. And Jace, he got me all fired up about this. And now I'm hoping that I'm gonna put a suggestion into Goldbelly if they start carrying it.
Well,
your description of it sounded amazing.
yeah. Okay, so there is a new cookie place down here, and I think they have them all over the place. It's called Crumble, but they spell it without the E at the end. And it's beautiful packaging. You get like a nice hard pink box. The cookies come served hot. So you put your order in through the app. It gives you a pickup time. You go pick them up. They have 6 cookies every week, and only 6 cookies. And when you go in there, it's really cool. Like they're breaking eggs, like it's all fresh ingredients. And they always have a chocolate chip cookie. They always have an iced sugar cookie. And then the other 4 cookies are random. Like we got an apple pie cookie, which was like a gingerbread base with real pumpkin pie filling on the top. A s'mores cookie, which had crumbled. It was a chocolate chip cookie with crumbled graham crackers and a big marshmallow in the middle. So it's, and each cookie, I mean, it's, for 6 cookies, I think it's $16. And they're big cookies. So, I mean, you could split a cookie between 2 people and both people would be very happy with the proportion of cookie they got. But the cool thing they do, like I said, it's very, very well run. It seems really, really nice. And what they do is they, every week, like I said, every week it's new cookies. And it's always exciting cookies. So I know they have them in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. There's one in Pensacola, Florida. Texas, Alabama, Texas. I wonder what that came out of Texas. They have a lot of Texas ones. Crumble, yeah.
Okay.
Tennessee, Georgia. So it seems like it's a southeastern kind of thing. I feel like they must be out of Texas because there's 1,000 Texases on here. Lutz, Florida.
Lutz, there's one. Okay, I'll go.
There's one in Brandon, Florida. One in Jacksonville, Florida.
Go to this. As soon as I'm feeling better, I'm going to go to it.
There's one in Orlando. Oh, wow.
Lake is where the outlet mall is here.
Yeah, Lake Mary. Well, there's one in Winter Park, Florida, where I used to live. Kissimmee, Winter Springs, Florida. Holy crap, there's a lot of Floridas too. Shows you what I know.
Cool.
But like I said, it's, you know, it's everything through the app, and what's really cool is just, you know, new cookies every week. And like I said, if you go onto their website and it's Crumble without the E, they've got some really cool looking cookies.
All right, I'll check.
Ones you like, again, if you're, you know, not that people should be eating cookies all the time, but you know, every week it's like, hey, it's Sunday, we got new cookies. So I think people are pretty excited. Oh, they suspended LeBron for 1 game and Isaiah Stewart for 2?
I guess his face got in the way.
That seems...
I know he went after him three times.
Yeah.
And it took like a bazillion people to hold him down.
Yeah, LeBron suspended...
But I thought it was worth 3 for both of them.
Yeah, I don't like Isaiah Stewart getting suspended for more than LeBron.
No, I don't either. That's not right.
No, and I can understand if in the moment you threw out Stewart out of the game and didn't throw out LeBron, kind of a thing like that. But once you got a chance to review it on film, you know, as we discussed, I mean, again, if you didn't see the fight, I mean, not that we should, or the foul, like, it's not that, you know, we're encouraging you to watch bad things, but you want to educate yourself on what actually happened. Like, you can watch the clip everywhere, obviously. So maybe go check it out and judge for yourself, sort of situation.
Okay. Well, as we sign off, we'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And we're thankful for your support and your continued following us. And we hope you have a nice Friendsgiving or Thanksgiving with your family.
Yes. And I hope the games are better than they appear to be on paper for everybody that's a football. I mean, I assume you're listening to this show, you like football. And they don't look great on paper, but, you know, fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's all we can do.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, have a good week. Enjoy the holiday.